Hello, everyone. We're here for another exciting show at Dr. James McConnell's The Small Business Network. Here with my co-host, Brittany Wise. Hi, Brittany. How are you?
Hey.
And Carol Harper Poe.
Hey.
How are you doing today?
I'm blessed. How you doing, Dr. James and Miss Brittany?
It's so wonderful today.
All right,
Glad
all right.
to be here, right?
Glad to be here. Wonderful day. Wonderful day. Yes,
Beautiful.
awesome.
Here at the UAN Network.
Yes, UAN Network. Awesome.
So I wanted to get back going on the astronomy talk that we were talking about. And this week, I wanted to talk more about what happens to the bigger stars when they die out. We talked about the sun, but there are bigger stars that are 10 to 20 times the size of our sun. Mm-hmm. And unlike our sun will go out relatively quiet. Mm-hmm. But those bigger suns, 10 to 20 to 30 times the size of our sun, but they're going to go out in more of a supernova. Mm-hmm. And obviously what causes that is when those size suns or stars, when it's time, when they use up their fuel, because they burn the candle at both ends.
Okay.
Because they're so much bigger.
All right.
Now, believe it or not, in 2006, I think that's the year 2006, and you guys can Google at home. Mm-hmm. There was a star about 200 times the size of our sun. Can you even comprehend that?
Wow. I don't think
our sun is 1 million miles across. You can fit 1 million Earths inside of our sun.
Oh, wow. Wow.
There was a star that was 200 times the size of our Earth that supernovaed in 2006. Wow. That if you knew it was happening, you could have looked and saw a nice flicker in the air. A few pulsating flickers, and you'd be like, what's that? And to be able to see it, you think, well, oh man, but you know how far away it was? It was like 220 light years away.
Wow. And
for those at home that don't know what a light year is, and on the panel, 1 light year equals 1 trillion miles away. Mm-hmm. So 220 trillion miles away, you're able to see that flicker.
Wow.
Well, to tell you how massive of an explosion that is really incomprehensible. It's something I can't even explain but the good news is we're not in that area to have to worry about, we're not close enough for that to bother us, right? So when that happens, okay. But then there are certain stars. Now, the one that's 200 miles across, 200 in size of the sun, that's what that did. It's supernova.
Okay.
But the ones that are about 10 to 15 to 20 size of our sun, what happens with those is now they have a chance to actually turn into something else. Sometimes the supernova with those are so violent to where it creates infinite density. Wow. And what that means is a black hole is formed.
Wow.
That's what causes a lot of black holes. The black holes are a lot of different sizes depending on the size of the star. Exactly. But when those stars supernova, that's where a black hole is born. That's where it's formed. Okay. And it's ultimate density. Okay. I mean, nothing can escape a black hole, even light. You can flash a light through it, and the black hole would bend it back around. Wow. And it will not escape. Wow. That's how powerful that is. And so for some people think that a black hole will just go around and eating up different planets or stars. Well, it doesn't really do that. Okay. But everything that's close by it, it will. Wow. No matter the size of the sun, the star, the planet, it makes no difference. If it's too close, the black hole will annihilate it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Period. It will annihilate it. Wow. And so sometimes those bigger stars, 10 to 15, 20 times the size of the sun, what makes it turn into a black hole is the star completely implodes. But if the core of that star stays intact, it turns into what they call a neutron star. Okay. The neutron star is the core of that huge star. Okay. A neutron star, if you got a teaspoon of a piece of that neutron star, it would be billions of tons, billions of tons. Okay. So to make it even clearer, if you was on a spaceship, now a neutron star is about 10 miles to 20 miles across. Okay. So it's not really that big. If you got out of your spacecraft to stand on top of a neutron star, you would immediately pancake into the ground because of the incredible density.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's another part of what goes through the life and death of a star, and we talked about the black hole, and we talked about the neutron star. I think what we're going to do next show is we're going to talk about Earth, and we're going to talk about Earth early years to now.
Wow.
So I think it's going to be exciting, right?
Exciting, very exciting.
I can't wait. So I know it's time to change topics, Miss Brittany.
Yeah, you know I gotta change it up.
All right now.
So I want to start a conversation about business because I love business. Everything. We're all business owners. We're all entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
And those of you out there, this is what we're here for: to encourage you to turn your passion into profits and create your own businesses.
I love it.
So, Dr. James, what are some good businesses that a person can start out with?
Oh man, it's so many out there. I mean, you can create a business online. You can create a business offline.
Okay.
Brick and mortar, home-based.
Okay.
You know, whatever you guys want. I mean, I'll give you some examples. I mean, you can become a handyman. Are you one of those people that's always looking around the house, trying to find things to kind of work on, small projects, put together, all that kind of stuff? People love handymen, right? So handyman is one of the. How about a woodworker? I think a woodworker, that's another one. Somebody that works on wood, that they may craft stuff. What about a resume writer? A resume writer helps people with their resume, and people pay good for that. Freelance writer, and you're pretty much working for yourself, being a freelance writer. Translator. Sometimes if you can speak other languages, people need a translator.
Exactly.
Garden designer. Who has a green thumb here? Who likes to make a garden, even grow plants, fruits, vegetables, stuff like that. What about a personal trainer?
Okay.
Right, personal trainer.
Brittany.
Freelance developer. I know Miss Brittany can appreciate the personal trainer part of it.
Yes, Miss Brittany.
Absolutely.
What about a videographer? Right? I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of businesses need that kind of person.
Right.
What about a photographer?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, who don't want their picture taken, right?
Exactly.
You love to have your picture taken?
I love myself to be.
I mean, do you like to take your picture, Miss Brittany?
Absolutely.
Selfies.
Good selfie. Somebody else do it. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I like being in front of the camera or behind it.
That's what I'm saying. See, I mean, I'm sure when you guys look in the camera,
together.
you say, "I love me some me." That's what Terrell Owens said. I love me some me.
I love me some me.
All right now.
I think that's awesome. And so, those are just a few different things. I mean, you can get into a service business if you want to provide a service. You can get into a sales business where if you want to sell clothes, you want to sell items, or you want to sell your service.
What about hair?
Hair, you want to sell hair, or you want to do hair.
Hair.
It's so many things, guys, that you can do in business, and you just want to dig into what you think is your talent, and whatever you can do. So there's another topic that we'll talk about next show, about a movement that we're going to actually be making, and I'm not going to talk about it now. So stay tuned, because we're going to talk about it next show, and you're going to be excited about it.
Okay.
Awesome, Dr. James. So still piggybacking on business and startup businesses, I know all of us enjoy Robert Kiyosaki quite a bit. Explain the 4 quadrants.
We're glad to. Okay, so the first quadrant would be the E quadrant. The E quadrant is the employment quadrant. That's when you work for someone. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of rich people there. Okay. The E quadrant, though, has a different mindset.
Okay.
True.
Typically, the mindset is 9 to 5. I can't wait till you get off work. When I get off, I want to relax, or I want to go spend time with the family. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, that's the E quadrant.
Okay.
Then there's the S quadrant. The S quadrant is where most small business do, where they dwell. S is self-employed. Self-employed is normally one-man shows or small businesses.
Exactly.
So if you're self-employed, that's where a lot of people want to start.
Exactly.
Sometimes that's where they have to stay. It just depends on things and circumstance.
Exactly.
There's the B quadrant. The B quadrant is business. That is for big business.
Exactly.
Normally for 500 employees or more. Big business is when you're to the part where you're able to hire people, and so and more. So I say, personally, I dabble in the S quadrant. Obviously, I dabble in the B because I do hire people.
Exactly.
And so obviously not 500 plus employees, but
coming.
but we're trying to get there, right?
Yes.
Then there is the I quadrant, which is one of my favorites. The I quadrant is the investing
Come on.
quadrant. And so that one you can, like me, I am a real estate investor. I have vending machines, ATM, those type of things that help you make money that doesn't require your presence. And for anyone that wants to get into those things, you can give me a call on my cell. It's on the screen, but it's 469-765-5327. So you have it. But those quadrants are very important, and anyone can become rich in any one of those quadrants. But obviously, if you're a self-employed person, I think the goal is to be able to one day get to the B, and that's where you are.
Exactly.
Because right now I'm S, I dabble in B, and I am I.
Okay.
So that's, those are the 4 quadrants.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about how to start a network marketing company.
Okay, how to start network marketing. Okay, so in network marketing, it's a little different than a business. It's a business, but I mean, as far as a normal business, network marketing, you have to be able to network more with people, be able to understand who you're trying to network, and be able to run the numbers game, really.
Right.
I mean, it's all about a numbers game, and so to make an example of the numbers game, let's say your goal is going to be, I want to talk to 10 people a day, okay? So if you're going to work 6 days a week, because you can't say I want to be off 2 days, because come on, when you're starting a business, you can't worry about that.
Ain't no all day.
To be honest, I would do I work 7 days right now.
Right.
Okay.
But let's say that you do 6 days and you want to be off 1 day. So 10 people a day is 60 people a week. That's 240 people a month.
Wow.
So the key here is the numbers say this. You talk to 240 people, you're going to probably get about 60 to 70 people that are going to really listen.
Okay.
You're going to have about 20 to 30 that are going to be really serious.
Okay.
And you're going to get about 10 to 15 sales. That's if you do it that way. Now, there's numbers to go higher or lower, but sometimes people will be like, I talked to 5 people this week. I talked to 5 people this week. Come on. Then forget network marketing. You can forget it.
Exactly.
Because it's a numbers game.
Exactly.
I just gave you a number that really should be the lowest number, but 5 a day is probably okay, but 10 a day should be your minimum.
Okay.
Because I just told you that equals 240 a month.
Exactly.
And it's just a numbers game. Sometimes those numbers go down or up, but 240, you're going to get about 30 to 40 people that are really going to be serious about what you're talking about.
Exactly.
And you're going to close anywhere from 10 to 15, and could that be less? Yeah, it might be 5, but 10 to 15 people is, so if you can get 10 to 15 sales per month, well, that ain't bad depending on exactly what you're selling.
Exactly.
But if obviously on a smaller scale, if your product is just $100, you're making $1,000 to $1,500 per month.
Okay.
And for a startup that just starting a business, that's huge.
Right.
Yep. So.
Yeah, perspective makes a difference too.
That's right.
So how do you get more customers to listen to you?
Well, I think what you should do is always be captivating.
Okay.
Always be electric and intense. People always say I seem like I'm always electric. That's the word that I always hear.
Electric. Okay.
I like to sometimes say I can be
Electricity.
intense. So if you can be intense and kind of, whatever you got to say, and sometimes, marketing gifts sometimes make people want to listen.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of ways, but those are like a couple.
Okay. So when you say network marketing, I've done a few network marketing companies, and a lot of times I hear that's a pyramid scheme.
Right.
Explain the difference from a Ponzi scheme and network marketing.
Okay, so network marketing is pretty much, let's start with the Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme is when you spend money for money, or you spend money for a position.
Okay.
That's illegal.
Okay.
That's a Ponzi scheme. Now, there's people that do it,
Okay.
And typically, I have a couple of FBI friends that I know from school,
Okay.
and they came out and told me, well, of course that's illegal, but they typically don't go after the people that are in these things. They really go after the one that started it.
Okay.
That's why they last for a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then they change.
Okay.
They move to another type of business,
Exactly.
and it's hard for them to always catch up with them, but sometimes they do. So a Ponzi scheme is more of spending $500 on a position or $500 to wait for somebody to pay this money, that money to make money. That's illegal. Network marketing is spending money on a product, service, something like that, a product or service.
Okay.
That's it. And as long as you're spending money on a product or service,
Okay.
it's a network marketing, it's MLM, it's legal.
It's legal.
So that's the difference.
Okay.
So the next topic that we're going to get into is what we call first impressions.
Okay.
And so this is for Miss Brittany. Miss
Okay.
Brittany, do first impressions matter?
The long answer is no, because once you get to know somebody, regardless of the first impression, you get to know them for them. However, the short answer is yes, because sometimes your first impression is your only impression.
Exactly.
Right.
Say when you go to a job interview, you don't get a second interview
Right.
without making a good first impression on the first interview.
Exactly.
So in terms of business, first impressions are ideal to determine who you meet, how you meet them, and the long lasting of the relationship.
Awesome. Miss Carol, what do you think about first impressions? Give us your take on the first impression, and do you think it's important?
Well, yes, the first impression is always important because that's how a person or people size you up. If you come in with a bad attitude, they're going to want to say, no, this is not the business person for me. If you
Right.
come in with a good attitude, they're going to say, okay, maybe I can roll with this person or see and listen to what this person has to say. So it's all about, yes, first impressions are very important.
So, Ms. Brittany, how can you use first impressions to your advantage?
It's a few different ways. I personally, I like the low-key version where I don't want to look like $1 million
Right.
versus having $1 million.
Right.
You know, I read the book Millionaire Mind,
Okay.
Millionaire Next Door by, I
Okay.
think it's Thomas Stanley, if I'm not mistaken. And he talked about how they're having all these millionaires to come in and do a group session,
Right.
and he's expecting them to walk in with all these nice suits and jewelry and all, and they walk in with overalls and they
Right,
look
right.
real country, if you will.
Right.
And it changed his impression of what a millionaire looks like.
Exactly.
So the first impression, I personally like to use that as an advantage.
Okay.
So, I'm big in health and wellness. I've been dancing my whole life. But when people see me and they see plus size, BBW, curvy, whatever y'all call us today,
Right.
they think, obesity diseases, you can't move, you can't do. And then I'll start dancing or I'll start working out. And it's like, oh, wait, that first impression changes. So you can use that to your advantage
Right.
to look one way and kind of be low key and then surprise everybody in the end, and you leave a lasting impression when you can surprise somebody like you're electric. Oh my gosh, I didn't know Dr. James was so funny,
Right.
because it's
Right.
that type of thing. Once you can surprise somebody with your first impression,
Right.
and that to me is an advantage overall. So Ms. Carol, what you think?
How can you use first impressions to your advantage?
Well, I would say I agree with what Miss Brittany is talking about. It's not what's on the outside of the book. Remember we talked about
Right.
that. It's what's in the inside. So the impression the first impression that to take advantage of it, like she talks about a job interview. You want to sell yourself, but you don't want to be so high-minded, but you want to sell yourself in order for people to want to look at you.
Right.
So the first impression, yes.
That's awesome. So what I want to get into, we did talk about network marketing, but I just want to talk about networking.
Okay.
Miss Brittany, what is networking?
So networking is basically when you make a connection with somebody else, either socially or business related. You meet up with them and you start networking and you build those connections.
Okay. And how do you network?
I like to work a room, but ultimately I like to get to know the individual. So if I know something about you, I form them, get to know their family,
Right.
you know, what they like, what they don't like. And when you get somebody talking about themselves, ultimately they like you.
Right,
because you
right.
let them talk about them.
Exactly.
I love it. Miss Carol, how do you network?
Communication. It's almost the same thing as everyone is saying. It's communication. Communicate with other people to sell your product.
I love it. How do I network? I am relentless on everything.
Okay.
From online to social media to Yellow Pages to Google to
Yes,
the
you are.
platforms I built
Yes,
to the show to everything we do to be able to network and then meeting people. I consciously go have a 10 people to 20 people a day mindset who I'm going to call. So you just relentlessly get into it. That's what I do.
Okay.
And so,
Great.
so this next topic is community impact. Ms. Brittany, how does the community empower you?
Well, for sake of time, I'll try to keep this short. So we'll
Okay.
probably talk about it again on the next show. But community impact, that pretty much shapes you as an individual. So when you're going into your community, how you see your community oftentimes is empowering to you. So I think about Black Wall Street. I love Black history. And Black Wall Street is one of the things that's near and dear to my heart because I'm actually from Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Oh, okay.
which is the mecca of Black Wall Street. And just understanding the history of it, how everybody was so together and the community involvement, everybody looked out for each other.
Right.
So it's empowering for an individual to know that, hey, that's my brother, that's my sister, I know they're gonna look out for me. Now I can go forth without thinking that you're against me or you're gonna harm me or something. Now we can really work collectively, and that's empowering.
That's okay. Ms. Carol, how does the community empower you?
Well, actually, I was just talking to Miss Brittany the other day about you never forget where you come from. So when you want to put as much, not that you made it or whenever, even though you haven't made it or you have made it, you want to put back into your community and coming together and helping for a good common cause.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Ms. Brittany, why is it important to be involved in the community?
Well, just from a personal standpoint, you stay grounded. You stay 10 toes to the ground. You know what's going on. You keep your ear to the streets, as they say. That helps you know what's impacting the community, what is struggling in the community. You can hear the voice of the people, and through that, new ideas are formed, new businesses are created. Because, you know, oftentimes you might see a homeless person, and through that, talking to the homeless person, you come up with an idea.
Exactly.
And that in itself is how you stay involved in the community, but it's empowering as well.
I love it. I love it. So, I'm going to answer this question, Ms. Carol, kind of before you do. How important it is to be involved in the community? I think it's very important.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't matter if you have gotten to a nice stature or you're just working at McDonald's.
Okay.
The key is to give back to the community is as simple as a homeless person needing a couple of dollars.
Exactly.
You know, so it doesn't matter where your money is, but if you're working at McDonald's, it's okay to give away $1 or $2. On the other hand, if you're a rich person, it's okay to give away, you know, $1,000 or $2.
Exactly.
And so, how you give it away, it just depends. I mean, you want to do it with a charity, you want to pass it out, you know, however you want to do it. But I think it's very important to be able to do something like that. And depending on your stature, it depends on how much you should spend. You know, if you're a millionaire, there's no way that you should give out $1 or $2.
Okay.
You should definitely do no less than $100.
Right.
How about you, Ms. Carol? You know, how important to you to be involved into the community?
Well, actually, it's,
Or why is it so important?
okay. Actually, it is very important to be involved into the community because the community makes us.
That's right.
Right.
It makes us. It brings us together. It brings new friendships. It brings new families.
Right.
You know, not your born family, but you're born into other families. So the community is very important.
Absolutely.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is. So, Miss Brittany, we're going to change the topic a little bit.
Okay. All right. So, what is a team player?
A team player?
Uh-huh.
Well, a team player is, let's use this as an example. At your job, everybody has to come together And everybody have different ideas. You take those different ideas and you bring them together and you work with them. Everybody's not going to think the same, because that's why we're not made the same. So a team player is coming together, again, as a common good to make the team work and have good results.
Okay, all right, awesome. So if you're working for a common goal, what is the personal, do you lead with personal interests, or is it a common goal?
Well, actually, it is basically a common goal. You could have a personal interest, but you have to keep it actually real. Don't be too personal.
Okay.
You have to keep it real, and you have to think about others. Because the team, you have to think of the team. Number one thing is the team. And you don't want to get so caught up in me, myself, and I. It's all about being the team player.
Okay. So how do you work as a team player?
How do you work as a team player? As I've been saying, all together. You all come together as the common goal. What is the vision of the leader of the team?
Okay.
You have to have that vision. You all have to come together and have that same mind, and you have to think about, because you don't want to get somebody that's divided and got going out by themselves and having their own way. So you have to think about the team. You got to have somebody in charge to know where he or she is leading the team.
I'd like to touch on that topic before we get close to closing our show. But working as a team is the most important thing.
Exactly.
We have to individually be able to do our part individually,
Exactly.
but to be able to do it individually for the machine of the team. We need the team to be a certain way, and it goes hand in hand. Individual, team. You're supposed to think of both at the same time.
Right.
Team, work individually hard, but in the team prospect and aspect of what we say that we're going to do. Okay, so having said that, I have something for the viewers where we're going to do a free article for any business owner that calls this number 469-765-5327. Again, 469-765-5327, and text the word "I want it." I want it. And what we'll do is we'll get you a free article about your business, absolutely free, doesn't cost you a dime. We'll do this article, and you'll have a chance to have this article put into a global magazine, to be on social media, and again, does not cost you 1 red cent. So again, the number's on the screen. Text "I want it" to 469-765-5327. And guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This was a great show, right, Brittany?
Absolutely.
Right, Ms. Carol?
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next week, and how sweet it is.
How sweet it is.